As this camera view on the International Space Station pans to look back at the aft end of the station, you can see beyond the radiators that are in our foreground the automated transfer vehicle, which arrived at the International Space Station this morning, just before 10 a.m. It was 9:59 a.m. Central Time this morning, that the ATV number 2, named Johannes Kepler, docked to the aft end of the space station at the Zvezda module. Camera under the control of the Communications and Tracking Officer in the International Space Station Flight Control Room now zoomed in to that interface between the ATV, which is in the left portion of the screen. On the right portion of the screen, the aft end of the Zvezda module. That's the main module of the Russian segment of the station and provides the living quarters for 2 of the Russian cosmonauts. The automated docking of the automated transfer vehicle was completed without any issues this morning, delivering crew supplies, including oxygen and food, as well as propellant for the station and experiment supplies. Similar kinds of things that are delivered inside the Progress vehicle, which we're seeing here. The Russian supply ship, as well as in the Japanese supply ship, the HTV number 2, which is docked currently at the front end of the station on the space-facing side of the Harmony module. And this is a close-up of the Soyuz vehicle. This is Soyuz 26, the ship that delivered Dmitry Kondratiev, Paolo Nespoli, and Katie Coleman to the station in mid-December. The other Soyuz vehicle is docked to the aft end of the mini research module that is on the top side of the forward end of Zvezda. That Soyuz spacecraft, commanded by Alexander Kaleri, brought he and Oleg Skripochka and Scott Kelly to the station back in October. And the possibility is still being discussed by the mission managers and the partners to possibly have those 3 crew members get in their Soyuz spacecraft and undock from the station after the arrival of the space shuttle, in order to conduct an exterior survey of the station at a point in time when it includes the visiting vehicles provided by all of the partner agencies. The Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency's H-2 transfer vehicle, which you can see in the lower left-hand corner of this screen with the dark gold-colored surface. That's actually now attached on the space-facing side of the Harmony module. The Konatori 2 is the second of the JAXA's HTV, the uncrewed cargo ship, similar to the ATV and to the Progress vehicle, although the HTV has a much larger payload capacity. And this camera view is showing us the SPDM. This is a part of the robotics system that's provided by the Canadian Space Agency, the Special Purpose Dexterous Manipulator, or otherwise known as Dexter, which is another smaller portion of the robotics system, which includes the space station's robotic arm, Canadarm2, which you see there prominent in the view, attached to a grapple fixture on the underside of the station. We're now looking on the port side of the station. The HTV is there and now in the center of the screen, And the other two major Japanese components, the larger of them in the upper right-hand side is the Kibo Laboratory, and attached to its top side, which is pointed down in our current view, is the Japanese logistics module. And just at the edge of the frame in the upper right-hand corner, the exposed platform that's attached to the Kibo Laboratory, along with the Japanese robotic arm. The HTV did deliver payloads which were unpressurized and were extracted from the container in the center section of the HTV by the robotic arms and handed off in a small platform attached to the exposed platform. The HTV also recently arrived in late January. The ATV just arrived today. And the Space Shuttle, with its contingent of cargo, will be arriving at the International Space Station on Saturday afternoon. If the consumable supplies will support it and there's no other more pressing need, the plans are being developed to have Kaleri, Skripochka, and Kelly get into their Soyuz spacecraft and undock from the International Space Station and back away to be able to document the current condition of the outside of the station, and as luck would have it, also get a view of the station with the visiting vehicles of all of the partner nations present at one time. No final decision on that Soyuz fly around, or fly about, as some describe it, has yet been made. No decision is expected until several more days into this flight. This movement of the camera out on the port side of the space station's truss now gives us a view of the exposed platform of the Japanese modules of the International Space Station, to which science payloads such as this are attached. The Japanese module also has its own airlock. It's an airlock for payloads. And the Japanese robotic arm, the small arm that is resident here on the outside of the Japanese science module, the Japanese laboratory module, can manipulate payloads from this exposed platform into that airlock, and they can be retrieved by the crew members inside the station without they themselves having to venture outside. In the lower left-hand portion of the screen now, in the center section of the Kibo module, you can see that a raised and slightly gold-colored circle, or that is the outside of the Japanese payload airlock. And the end effector of the Japanese payload arm is seen there in the lower portion of the screen. These are live views from the International Space Station's truss cameras that are coming as the station is flying above the central Pacific Ocean, just now crossing over the equator on a northeasterly course that will take it in the neighborhood of the Hawaiian Islands in 5 to 10 minutes. And then cross the terminator into orbital nighttime before crossing the western coast of North America in just above southern British Columbia. This view gives you a good look at the Japanese payload arm attached to the outside of the Kibo laboratory. That on the lower right-hand side of this frame, while in the upper left we can see Canadarm2, which is grappled to a grapple fixture on the underside of Harmony. The robot arm on Space Shuttle Discovery is still undergoing its checkout under the command of pilot Eric Bowe and mission specialist Al Drew. Last report from the PDRS officer here in Houston to Flight Director Ginger Carrick is that checkout is going just fine. There are no issues. Everything is working fine so far.